Hi, my name is Tasha, and I am coming to you telling my story, sharing my story about a horrifying hysterectomy that I had in 2018. I feel like every woman should know this and then do their research about any and every doctor before they get ready to have a hysterectomy. But before I get started, I want to say that my heart goes out to all of us who are dealing with racism, COVID-19, loss of jobs, hunger, etc. May God be with us all. So, back in 2018, I had a hysterectomy. But before I had the hysterectomy, I had suffered maybe about 3 to 4 years with heavy bleeding, bad cramps, and bleeding so bad it was soaking my clothes. And I took a couple of notes. I wrote them down back from when I had the hysterectomy so that I can go through and share everything with you all. So back then, after my fifth child, I had my tubes tied. And it seems like when I had my tubes tied that triggered everything. It seemed like it made the bleeding worse. Um, the pains were worse. I could barely get up out of the bed. They were really, really intriguing. So then after that, I went to my doctor. Um, um, I went to my doctor and she recommended that I had a partial hysterectomy. At the time, I didn't have the insurance, so I kept, a couple of years after that, I continued on with the bleeding. My doctor, who is a very considerate, very kind, very loving doctor, I mean, was always concerned about me. And for that, I appreciate her. After years went on, like I said, just not too long ago, I just couldn't take it anymore. I went in. She said to me, she said, hey, it's time for you to go ahead and have a total hysterectomy. At this time, I had gotten so far after she was checking me and everything. I want to say, after she checked me, I think she said it was like I was like 5 months pregnant. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And so, like I said, my uterus had gotten so big. I had a very enlarged uterus. That's another thing. Along with the bleeding and along with the abdominal pain, my uterus had gotten so big. And so she said at the time that it was time to have that a total hysterectomy. So I was okay with that because for years I had struggled with all this pain, with all this bleeding. And at this time, I was just tired. I just didn't know what else to do. And I trusted her. I trusted her the first time she said it. I just didn't have the money. So as I can remember, we set up the surgery. I had my surgery date. I had the time that I was supposed to be there, and the day before the surgery, they called me and they said, hey, your hospital fees will be, I want to say, maybe about $2,000. Excuse me. And then they said that the surgery from your doctor will be about 12,000, maybe $13,000, because I can't remember the exact amount. At this time, I was horrified. I was sad and I was broken. I cried, cried, cried. And I called my doctor's office back and I was like, hey, is there anything that y'all can do to reduce the price? Is there a payment plan? And I think they said that at the time there was a payment plan. But um, the payment plan was about half of what they were already asking for. So I still couldn't do it. So at this time, out of desperation, I just, I started trying to do research and forgetting that my husband had kind of like this secondary insurance. Um, so what I did was I called them After I called them, they say, hey, you have to come in to see one of our doctors, bring in the paperwork from your original doctor, and you can come in and see one of our doctors, and we'll take it from there. So to my surprise, um, this particular insurance, they pay for everything. I was so excited at the time because I'm like, I finally get a relief, but I was so saddened at the same time because I was not going to be able to have my own doctor who I cared for and trusted, not to do my surgery. So I had no choice. So they called me in for a consultation, as I can remember. After they called me in for that consultation, it was kind of weird going in because at first he seemed like he didn't know what I was coming in for. Then they had me to go in and sit at this table, but I guess once they got a whiff of what I was coming in for, it was like new money or something, that I had brought money to them or something. And so they took information from me. The guy who works with the original doctor who was supposed to perform my surgery, he came in, he looked at me, bada boom, bada bang. Before I know it, I was out of there. I didn't. I thought it was weird, but then I was like, okay, maybe that's just protocol. I really didn't know. So after that, I had another appointment with the original doctor who did my surgery, and he examined me, and he told me the same thing that my regular doctor told me, that I was about five. My uterus was about 5, maybe to 6 months pregnant wise, and I was just like, okay, so he kind of explained to me what they were going to do in the surgery, and he asked me different questions. And one question that confused me at that particular time, he said, during the surgery, would you like for me to go ahead and take out your intestines? And I thought it was weird when he asked me that, but then I was like, I said, I just said, okay, if that's a part of a hysterectomy, having a total hysterectomy, then I'm okay with that. And he said, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get it done, and we're gonna go from there. So I said, okay. I went home. I was happy. Like I said, I was still broken because, and still a little, I want to say not um, totally sold on what was, about this particular doctor, because like I said, this is a new doctor. I don't know him from apples to oranges. And so what I want you to do, I want you to tune in for more on tomorrow. This is part 1 of my horrifying hysterectomy. And tune in, subscribe, and like, and I'll see you on tomorrow. Bye.